welcome, welcome. Come right on in. Come right on in, everyone. Come right on in. Great afternoon, great evening, great morning, wherever you may be joining us live, or those who are catching us on replay. Welcome to you as well, whether you're joining us on YouTube, Facebook, in my private Facebook group, Broken Pieces to Peace. We would like to say welcome, welcome, welcome. Go ahead and tag your friends, family, neighbors. Let them know that we are live for another episode of Who Wouldn't Serve a God Like This? And I have none other than my special guest, Precious Simone, in the house. Welcome,
Precious. Welcome.
Yes.
Thank you so much for having me, Pam.
Say what?
I said thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so we are so happy and grateful that you've taken out time out of your day to be with us today. So go ahead and click that love, like, and share button. Tag as many people as you can, a minimum of 10, okay? And let them know that, yeah, it's getting ready to go down, all right?
And so I tried to share, Pam. It wouldn't give me the option to share.
It wouldn't give you the option to share.
Maybe we have to turn it on afterwards or something.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so let me turn this around. Okay, hold on one second.
It's okay.
All right. So, great afternoon again, everyone. And we are here with none other than Precious Simone for episode number, drum roll, 23 of Who Wouldn't Serve a God Like This. And I am burning up, and my fan just switched on me. It just turned around. So we're going to work that out in just a second. But this is my goal. It is my vision and my desire to share with the world the crisis or those traumas, right, that God has allowed to happen in our lives. And then we're going to go through those triggers or those defining moments, right, where God is getting our attention. And then those triumphs that is used or was used to build our strength or our faith. And then to, above all, glorify God and to help others, right? And so this is amazing. So I'm super excited today to have none other than my special featured guest, Precious Simone. Welcome, welcome, welcome again to Who Wouldn't Serve a God Like This, Precious. And so, ladies and gentlemen, Precious is energetic, bold, vibrant, successful, and encouraging. She's featured in Kish magazine. Precious Simone is an award-winning inner strength coach. Come on now, inner strength coach. We all need some of that, right? So at some point in time in our lives. She is an author, not only an author, she's a best-selling author. Come on now, that makes a difference. Just an author or a best-selling author. And she's a speaker, a mentor, a trailblazer, a woman of God. Can you hear me? A woman of God and a certified life coach. Precious is on a personal mission to push, motivate, and inspire others to never give up on improving themselves. She is a highly sought after keynote speaker who has had the privilege of speaking at many events. And one that she didn't have on her bio, but she was the Power Voice. What do you call it? MC.
I was the MC of the Power Voice, and I was also one of the top 20 speakers in my particular class. I was number 2, one of the speakers that came out. So I hosted 2 of the Power Voice, and I also was chosen to be one of the speakers.
Absolutely, and you introduced me.
I did.
Yes. So those were some amazing times. And so she has an impressive body of work, recently interviewing, listen at this, ladies and gentlemen, the mix for Kish magazine, the next Melanie Holt, our very own from Huntsville, Alabama. Woo woo! because that's where we are, right? We are in Huntsville, Alabama. And so, um, from the hit TV series Love and Marriage in Huntsville, she is an inspirational leader with a powerful presence and an infectious personality, as you can see. And hold on, I'm missing some stuff, just a little bit of stuff. Okay, she has been featured in she has interviewed on Kish Magazine, a couple of people that we know, right? Ivania, Ivania, please don't let me mess her name up. Ivania, Iyanla Van Zant, okay? Iyanla and Karen Clark Shear, I know who that is, and I know Iyanla and Shantae Moore, okay? So she has interviewed these phenomenal people as well, and since starting her journey at the age of 19, she has been relentless in her pursuit. Come on now. And I see her in action. She's just all over, just getting it DON, getting it done, and hashtag get to know her. Okay, so let's go ahead and get right into it to get to know none other than Precious. So, Precious, thank you so much for accepting the invitation to share your story with my audience. So, thank you again so much for joining us today.
No, of course. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here. So, thank you for asking me to be a part.
For sure, for sure, for sure. So now you're on the opposite end of the interview. And so I'm the interviewer and you the interviewee. That is amazing. It's a kind of different seat. So go ahead and share with our audience. We know what your bio says, but who is Precious Simone? And
Yes.
what was that thing that happened to you, that traumatic thing that happened to you?
Yes, thank you so much. Yes, so again, Precious Simone is everything that you stated, but she's also a woman who just believes in people and believes that we all have an assignment and that we all have a purpose to fulfill in this life and that we're not here on accident. Many
Absolutely.
people are floating around trying to figure out who they are, but in reality, we all have a purpose, and it's important that we go to the Creator to figure out who we are. And I have spent time before the Creator, defining who I am, and spent time before God is what I call him.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Figuring out who I am, and I understand that I'm a woman of purpose. I'm filled with purpose, and I'm help. I'm called to help other people manifest their purpose and see their purpose as well.
Yeah.
Well, had a moment in my life around 2014. Well, let me take you back just a little bit more. I graduated from college in December 2009. And from that moment, I had came home to where I live and reside is in St. Louis, Missouri. And when I came home to St. Louis, Missouri, of course, everyone is always looking for Mr. Right.
Yeah,
Mr. Right or Mrs. Right. And so I ran into who I believed was Mr. Right. At the time of my life, I was 22, going on 23, one of those. Okay. And so in that time, getting to know this person and pursue a relationship with this person, only for us to end up getting married. And we got married, and this is what I believe to be my dream. Believe someone that I believe that I was going to have a lifelong purpose with. Well, soon, in a couple of months of us getting married, the relationship began to unravel, and it began to take a turn to where we were in a position in space where he decided he just didn't want the relationship anymore. And so that was really hard for me because I had never been in a place where I felt like unwanted, or someone wanted to give up on me, or someone wanted to change their mind about me, or someone wanted to throw in the towel and give up pursuing what we once thought had purpose. That's a message right there.
Yeah, it is. I heard it. That's a book right there, girl.
And so it caused a lot of pain, and it caused me to go inside of myself, and it caused me to lose my smile. Now I'm a person that smiles big, that's very energetic, that's very bold. And so for me to lose my smile, it manifested outwardly of what I was feeling on the inside. It was I was showing up, but you could tell that there had been a dent somewhere, that there had been a sting somewhere, that I lost something. And so I spent several years in tears and several years in pain, because if I could be honest, Pam, I had this whole I'm exempt mindset. I felt like because I was a good person, because I did right by people, because I was very caring, because I was nice, because I did the things that were right to do. In essence, I went to
Yes.
school. I'm cute.
Yes. Yes.
I
Yes.
got it going on. I could dress.
Yes.
Name all the stuff that would cause you to be a catch.
Right. Right. Right.
I feel like I was a catch that couldn't be dropped.
Yes. Yes, honey.
I'm
Yes.
exempt. Like, what you mean y'all want me?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Worthy.
So that was hard. It was hard
Mhm.
to receive, someone changing their mind about you. And I went through a very hard period of feeling abandoned and feeling unloved and feeling unwanted and feeling rejected and all the things that insecure and questioning my worth and questioning my value and questioning all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what happened. And it was hard. It was hard to receive it. It was hard to process through it. It was hard to walk through it. I tell people all the time, until you're in a situation that really hits you at your core, that really flips your life upside down, it's extremely difficult to put your mouth on it until you're in it.
Absolutely. 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 And so, God will allow those things to happen, right? And especially, it happens to men as well. But I can't relate to that. But as a female, I can definitely relate to that. And so, where do you turn? When the love of your life,
Takes a
turns
turn.
right, right, have another agenda.
Yeah, so for me, I turned to healthy people. I had a lot of people in my circle around me who, one, were married, but then two, who also just were voices of reasoning and voices of encouragement. I turned to people who I can confide in the church, as well as I turned a lot to the Lord. It was so hard. Like, God, why me? What did I do to deserve this, Lord? Where did I miss it at? Where did I miss you? And then as I began to ask God questions, there are a lot of things that came to my attention about, just being in this space. I lost my father when I was a young girl. And so I really, I take pride in men. I look up to men. I think men are valuable pieces in our lives that we should have. And so for me, I put them on this pedestal before God, like you it. And so the
Absolutely.
times where I was running to him with all this pain and all this stuff, I should have been running to the Lord. Like,
Come
because there
on
was
now.
some answers that he didn't have answers for. There were some things that only God could fix or God could show. And when I look back on that time, I'm like, we both were growing. We both were in a space where we were getting healed, and God was just moving through us. And so I think back on those times, I'm like, you know what? I'm glad it happened. A lot of people will look back on it and reflect like, well, I hate that ever happened to me. No, Pam, I'm actually glad that it did happen, because today I wouldn't be the woman that I am today without it happening. So turning to God, turning to his word, turning to prayer, turning to healthy people during hard times is a place. Because I could have been in an asylum. I could have chose anything. I could have chose drugs. I could have chose alcohol. I could have chose sex. Could have chose going to the world. I could have chose a lot of those things, which they were tempting. Not the drugs and the alcohol, because that never was a struggle.
Absolutely.
But I mean, temptations of guys. It wasn't like people still wasn't trying to connect with me. After that, it was still people coming out of the woodworks. And so I could have easily, for moments and times of affection to feel voids, subject myself to feeling those voids through other things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so could you say that, I know we talked about it before, that when you put people, places, or things in the place of God, then he will shake that thing up, right? And you don't know what just happened. So could you say that, could you look back now and see that maybe you put God in him in God's place?
Oh yeah, several times on a pedestal, going to him for direction as opposed to going to God for direction, and
Mhm.
seeking his counsel above the Lord's, which is a good things to do, but you got to make sure you do the Father first. And for me, it was like, no, you're gonna tell me what we're doing. You're gonna tell me where we headed. You're gonna tell me what's the plan. And God's like, well, I'm over here. So
Hello?
I was going to God more with the pain and going with him more the plan. When in reality, I
Mm,
need to be the God for the pain and the plan.
right.
And so I've learned now when I'm feeling stuff or when something's going on, just go to God because He's going to give me direction and He's going to open my eyes to whatever it is that I cannot see. Because man can't replace the Father, and He will frustrate anything you put before Him.
Hmm.
He will shake it up. He
Hmm.
will do whatever, anything that comes in His place, anything that you don't seek Him for, don't take counsel for, especially if you are a kingdom person and you call yourself a kingdom person, you call
Hmm.
yourself a person that's hard after God and hard after His purposes in your life. He'll
Hmm.
frustrate anything that's going to keep you or interfere with that purpose.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you said something um, really key, uh, something that I want to bring out. The order God gives us females, the man, to look
Mm-hmm.
to, and he's
Mm-hmm.
supposed to look to God, right,
Mm-hmm.
to be held accountable.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
we still can't put all our hope and faith and trust in man.
Exactly.
We have to put our faith, trust, and hope in God. But there's still an order. We still look to our husbands or whatever for guidance or direction. But if he's looking, if he has the right direction as well, so it has to be in alignment.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yes. And so, could you, the triggers or those warning signs, did you have, let's talk about the warning signs or those triggers.
The warning signs before the disruption or the warning signs during the disruption or
Or where God was trying to get your attention, whether it was before the marriage, during the marriage, or after the disruption.
yeah,
Let,
I would
let the
say
people know what that looked like.
yeah, I can honestly be transparent and say that there were warning signs along the way during my courtship that sometimes you say, well, we can work on that, or oh, we can fix that, or oh, we'll fix that when we get married. I'm gonna tell you right now, it's not going to happen. There are certain things that are not going to be fixed when you get married. You actually take them over into the marriage and they magnify because
Mm,
you're together, you're married. And so there are certain things that actually were a problem during the courtship that I
hmm.
looked over or that I would just be like, oh, it'll be okay. We can work through it. But it became a problem later on. And God was trying to get my attention, telling me to slow down, telling me to slow down. And I kept going 1,000 miles per hour. Like, no, God, I'm in love. I'm good. It's cool. I don't need your advice right now.
What? I'm good.
God's like, daughter, you're going to run into a wall quickly. And so
Hmm.
it hurt more. See, I thought it hurt during the courtship, but it
Yes.
actually hurts more when you go over into what you deem your promised land with this junk and this baggage and this extra hurt that you haven't really addressed or
Hmm.
these other things that you're still dealing with. And so there were several times God was like, move out of the way, move out of the way.
Mm,
Move
mm.
out of the way, and several times, but because I refused to, I caused myself a lot of pain.
Wow. Wow. That's huge right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge. And so, um, hmm, ignoring the warning signs.
Yeah, you cause
Message
yourself more pain.
right
A lot of people feel like they can fix the sign or they can turn the sign from red to green. You can't. Let me tell you now. You can't. You cannot turn the sign from red to green. The only person that can do that is the Lord. Only the Lord can give you the green light go or the red light stop. Or
there. Hmm.
He might say, yield right now, daughter,
Yeah.
yield right now, son. But
Wait
we don't
on
have
me.
the power to do that. Wait on me. We get in the God, I got this.
Hmm.
Trust me. And it always leads in more pain.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Can you mind sharing, or would you like sharing to share uh, what some of those warning signs were?
Yeah, some of the warning signs are,
Alert.
yeah, move out of the way.
Mhm.
Others, um, certain behaviors. There's then all of a sudden you're out of character. That's a warning sign. When it takes you out of a character, the reason why God has to slow you down is because when you start taking matters into your own hand, you're operating in the flesh rather than operating in the spirit. So the warning is this is going to get the best of you, and you're not going to respond in the way that is godly. You're not going to respond in the way that is pure. You're not going to respond in the way that is loving. So the warning sign is get your feelings and flesh, get out of the way. Don't go do that. Don't go address them. Like that for me, I would
Don't
go
go address him or
don't go
address
address don't go address him. Move out of the way. Like you're not gonna handle this well. Because I thought I was handling it well. God was like, no, you're not even going in my spirit. Because there was times when I did it the right way. The Lord told me to. He said Esther knew how to approach the king. At the end of the day, the husband is won over by the conduct of the wife and the conversation of the wife, and you can't win them over because your conversation hasn't been before me. So what you're going to say is not going to win. So
what you say.
Yeah. So over and over and over again, I didn't win.
Exactly.
I didn't win. So the warning signs was be quiet, move out of the way, other people, other voices, seeing things, and allowing my feelings to get the best of me, and just operating out of me. And so you in the way.
Exactly. That was good. That was really good. And so in all of that, okay, so we see the traumatic thing, right? And then we see the triggers. Now, the glory in the story, the glory in the story from the story, because going through it, it doesn't feel good when you're
Doesn't
going
feel
through,
good. Yeah,
but it's for your good.
it's for your good for sure.
So let us see what that looks like.
Yes.
Can't wait to get to that. Let's do it. Let's share with the people what it looked like on the other side.
The glory in the story is that you work on yourself. So I spent
Yes.
time working on Precious, spend time before the Lord, spending time in a place of forgiveness, forgiving myself, forgiving other people, asking God for forgiveness for when I miss Him or when I don't seek Him or when I don't spend time with Him. I spent a lot of time doing that and just refocused myself around, okay, God, what do you want from me? This doesn't change how I feel about you. This doesn't change my mind about you. Because a lot of people allow pain to change their mind about them and the Lord. And I didn't allow it to change how I feel about the Lord and my relationship with the Lord. I said, God, okay, what do you want from me? So He wanted me to spend time healing. And while I was healing, other people was experiencing certain types of things in their relationship. But He will send me to encourage them from another perspective, and their relationships will be mended and their relationships will come back together. So then I got upset. I was like, well, dang, why come on to come back together? And He was like, the goal was not for yours to come back together. The goal was for you to understand what happened in yours so that you can help other people prevent themselves from going down the same road. Watching the signs, watching when they're out of line, watching when they're not seeking me, watching when they're not coming before me, not watching their conversation. And so I spent all that time doing it. It was people across my path. I dated a few people, but I spent like 7 years single and not giving my heart to anybody and just really before the Lord and asking Him for direction. And so that was from 2014 all the way up to this year. Well, last year. Let's say last year. Well, in 2020, yes. In 2020, at the top of the year, I had made a confession out loud. I said, okay, God, I want to open my heart again. I don't want to be closed off, because one of the things people fail to admit out loud, that when they lose something or when they have traumatic things happen in their lives or something leaves them when they go through hard times, is that their heart gets guarded. And that they fail to trust again and love again. And I said, God, I want to be open to love. I want to be open to loving again. And I want to give my heart again. Well, my past came back right after I made that declaration. And this was the first time that I was able to say from a whole place, from a real raw and a place of peace, was that, we don't have a purpose, together anymore. That God doesn't have a plan there. And I was shocked because I was like, what? I was able to do that. I never was in a place where I could do that or admit that, but I finally had the courage to say that I'm moving forward. So right after that, some months later, let's say about August, I received this unction from the Father to start praying for my future spouse, to start praying for my spouse. And I was like, what? Like I haven't prayed for a spouse or anything all year. Yes, right after that, I joined this prayer challenge. Then someone, my elder of the church, had called me and prophesied over my life and told me about a man that God had for me, and I'm going to get married. And it's going to be a quick work. He's right in front of my face to cut off anything that's not of God. But God had a purpose for us and saw us in ministry and so many different things. And I wept because I was like, wow, God still had a plan for me like this whole time, where I just been seeking Him, going after Him, trusting Him, pouring into people. God still had a plan for my love life. God still had a plan for me and somebody. And I was like, what? And all along in my face this whole time. And I couldn't see it, you
Won't he
know?
do it?
Want to do it. And so in October of last year, one of the coaches that I coached youth track with, summer youth track with, it's called AAU. We met in 2017 we met in March of 2017, and we coached the same youth together. We coached his son together, actually. And we were just friends. We loved God. We encouraged the youth together, and that was it. I had my eyes in other places and mine in other places, so I didn't see him like that.
Wow.
But I always thought he was a reputable man, a man of great standard, a man of great quality. I always had respect for him, but I didn't know that this would be my future husband, right?
Right.
Another coach that we coach with, we're all in this group chat where we hang out quarterly, but due to the pandemic, we didn't get a chance to kind of hang out. So she came in the group and was like, hey, I miss y'all. And we were like, we miss you too. We should hang out, spend some time together. So we coordinated that only for her. We ended up picking on her about her guy she's with that she's been posting, right? And lo and behold, I had this unction, like, because the man that I'm married to now, I'm getting ready to get to the story, but he's in the group.
Don't tell everybody.
And don't tell him. I'm like, oh, I started this feeling like, I'm like, is he Coach Leon? Like, I said, it's 2020. We ain't getting no younger. Let's go ahead and make it official. I had this boldness come over me. And I was like, what did I just do? Then I got sick to my stomach.
What
is happening?
Wait a minute. You went from meeting him in the chat.
No. And so we were in the chat, and I had this unction to put in the chat, like, hey, Coach, it's 2020. We ain't getting no younger. Let's go ahead and make it official. So I put that in the chat.
And y'all weren't dating? Y'all wouldn't?
No.
There was no.
But the caveat to that on his testimony piece is that he was before the Father saying, God, you have to present her to me. So he had gone through divorce. He'd been hurting. He was like, God, I've been dating. You're going to have to present her to me. Like, God, I'm going to go ahead and go it alone. But that's not my desire. So you're going to have to present her. So the boldness that I felt to respond in that text message was me presenting myself. And so that answered his prayer. So
all right now.
we went out to eat together, and then he asked me on a date, and the rest was history. And here I am a year later. Married.
Married. And
it's so much better than I could ever expect it. I get extremely emotional, sometimes when I think about the triumph. A lot of people spend a lot of times in their tears and the pain and the tragedy, which I understand it has to happen. You have to walk through it. But I spend a lot of time in tears in the victory and the triumph, because I'm like, again, who wouldn't serve a God like this? Who wouldn't wait on a God like this? Who wouldn't trust that he still had a plan? Who wouldn't trust that he would do for us? And I think so many times we think God's plans are over.
Yeah.
That God has an expiration date on his plans, and he doesn't. That's good. But he doesn't have an expiration date on his plans. Yeah. His plans are not about to be over for your life. You just got to trust him. I didn't know that this was a part of my future, but I'm so grateful. So here I am after going through all of that. Sometimes you feel like divorce is the end. Like, it's like, wow, like, will I ever love again? And here I am loving again. It's healthy, it's whole, it's encouraging, it's fun, it's funny. It's just great. It's pure. We both have a heart for the Father. We both are after God on our own terms. We pursue Him on our own. We pursue Him as a family. We have plans to launch our own ministry. We just have so many
Mm-hmm.
things that we're before the Father for, and it feels together.
Say that again because you froze.
It feels good to be running hard after God together.
Yes, girl. That's so beautiful. That is beautiful because so many people don't get a chance to feel that
Yeah,
ever in life,
I know.
and that is such a blessing. It's such a blessing, and
Thank you.
your story is so beautiful. That's really like a traumatic who wouldn't serve a God moment, you know,
Yes.
relationships for those who think that there is no hope for them. And you talking about, I hear some people say, well, there ain't no good people and there ain't no good men in church. There ain't no good women in church. Where's she going
I don't know what church you attend, but here's the deal. That is true, though. A lot of people are borderline in the world, so it is hard for people to tell the difference between what men are serving God, what women are serving God. And the truth is, like Melanie, I say it all the time, like God was gracious in presenting us to one another because we seek the Lord in similar fashion. We read the word in similar fashion. The way we are before the Lord, you don't find that today. And so
Yeah.
to have someone's just as sold out as me, that's what you have to be praying for. So I spend time praying for him to be walking in purity, him to be after the Father, him to understand his purpose, him to be in purity. Like I prayed those things, and I also
Yeah.
prayed them for myself as well. So you
Yeah.
have to, sometimes you got to be praying over your spouse because there's a lot of temptations out here and a lot of things pulling at people to distract them and to thwart them from their destiny.
Mm.
So you got to be that person to intercede sometimes.
Absolutely. And you have to be intentional. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you have to be the person, first of all, be the person that you're looking for.
Yes. Yes. Come on.
Because
Everybody wants somebody, but they refuse to grow. And you're gonna mishandle it.
say that again.
Yeah, you gotta grow. You gotta grow.
You have to grow. And there's people looking for a certain type of person, but why are you looking for that certain type of person and you're not even that person?
Exactly. Or refuse to do the work to
It,
grow and become that person. That's important too.
absolutely, absolutely, and that's a lot of um, the problems that I see where people are straddling the fence and they are not willing to grow and do the hard work that it takes in order to attract a good, healthy Christian mate, right? And for them to be a good, healthy Christian person.
Yeah. Because
And
you can
so,
be cute all day and not be attractive.
ooh,
Your soul not be attractive, your
mm,
spirit not be attractive, your mindset not be attractive. It's not enough to have good looks.
not at
There are
all.
addition, but it's people with good looks with no quality, with no substance, with no conversation, with no ambition, with no drive, with no dedication, with no devotion, with no private time with the Lord,
Mm,
with no love
mm,
life for the Lord,
mm.
angry, bitter, resentful. I mean,
Filthy and
I can't,
nasty
I'm
on
not
the
attracted to that.
inside.
You can be cute and handsome all day and
Mm,
still not be
mm.
attractive.
That's
That's a
right.
topic for another time.
That's right. Oh, that's real talk. That is
That's real
real
talk.
talk because looks can only take you so far, but
Looks
what's in
can
the
only take you
core,
so far. That's right.
the core is what matters. And that's when you have to, put in the hard work to empty out and dig all of that crap out that you've gone through in your life so that you will be in a good place and then pour in, the positive, the word, and be around good Christian people in that environment, and
Mm-hmm.
just feed whatever you feed, good or bad, will grow. And so if you focus on feeding your flesh
That's what's
and
gonna
these
show
flesh,
up.
oh, it's gonna show up, honey. It
Mm-hmm.
can only hide so long. It's like a blackhead or a whitehead. them things will come to a head.
It will come to a head. It has to.
It has
It has to.
What goes on in the dark will come to light for
Yeah.
sure. And so you can only hide it for so long, but just be committed to doing that inner work and healing, because those are some of the things that I heard you say. You know, you were in a winter, right, for 7 years, but in the meantime, in that waiting or in that winter season, you were seeking and searching and seeking what God's will is for your life.
Yeah, and I
So let
wasn't
me go
sitting
back.
around waiting on a man. God, when you gonna send him? I wasn't doing any of that. I was just spending time serving the Lord, spending time loving on people, spending time walking in my purpose,
Yeah.
and doing what I was supposed to do. Healing is important.
Yeah.
You can't put a end date on healing, or you can't rush healing. You have to really take your time and heal, because I wanted to make sure that I was well before either going back and being restored there or going back and being restored to someone else.
Absolutely. And taking that baggage and bringing that baggage into another relationship as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so which will be traumatic in itself.
Exactly. And it's not fair. It's not fair to anybody involved.
That's right. To anyone involved. And it will come to a head one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
And so let me go step back just a little bit before we wrap things up. Where did you get your strong spiritual background from? Because, you know, you came right in. Bam. I was doing what's right, you know, serving the Lord. And I've always had that mindset. And we are very, very much alike.
Yeah. Well, I didn't grow up going to church, but I did go to church on like your Easters and your Christmas. And I had an aunt who was heavy in church. And my aunt said my grandma was in church. But in regards to like my foundation, I got saved when I was like 19 years old. I was at church, I was at work one day and some friends was talking to me about the Lord. And I was like, all right. We should just be living our lives, y'all. Like, chilling with the God thing. And believe it or not, they piqued my interest though, because they talked about God in a way like they knew him. They wasn't just giving me information. It sounded like it was a relationship. It sounded like this was somebody I can have too. And my aunt had invited me to church and I went to church with her. And from that moment, my life had never been the same. I had given my life to the Lord. And I just started walking with him wholeheartedly after that. That's where it came from. And then so being in college around like-minded believers and going to a church that poured into me while I was in college, and then being surrounded by like-minded believers, like God really gifted my journey. Like he was with me. He was like, I'm gonna hold you through college and I'm gonna hold you till you get home and get you around some like-minded individuals. So that's where it came from.
You went to a Christian college?
No, I went to Southeast Missouri State University. So, but while I was there, when I got saved, it was on winter break of 2000, and it was winter break of 2005, headed into 2006. The new year was 2006. I got saved in 2006, and I returned back to college saved. While I was there, I was on a shuttle bus, and I was sharing my Lord. So I started sharing my story, sharing my testimony, and I got connected to some people who love God on the bus.
What?
I started doing prayer Bible study with them. And then one day we stumbled across a church. The lights had went off on the campus, and we went seeking for a church one Sunday and stumbled across this church that was non-denominational, Holy Spirit filled, powerful. And we started going there and we started getting groomed and developed. And that was kind of where our grooming and development took place from there. So God has literally orchestrated this whole thing. We had revivals on campus. We went around evangelizing the people. Like this what it was. My college years was spent with God and people who love God.
What?
Yes.
I thought that you had that strong parent, not a holiday.
Yeah, she did. We ain't gonna beat my mama up. She dressed us up. During
Right?
Christmas and Easter.
No.
She played her little gospel music in the house. But in
Right.
regards to like instilling a life of before the Lord in us, like she didn't, you know. And she'll share that.
Wow.
But in regards to finding my way, I found my way through after high school, post high school,
Yes.
my early years of college, and my whole college years was spent
Precious. You are froze. You were
oh,
froze.
there we go. There we
Okay. So you said early years were spent in
go. With
college.
people who love the Lord. Yeah.
Yeah.
God literally ordered my steps to those people.
My God. That's a story in itself,
Hmm.
you know, because typically people, you know, have a pretty strong background. You
Hmm.
know, my mom brought us up in the church, and you know, I was always very active in the church, and she just instilled those that
Values.
yeah in us, and
Yeah.
but wow, 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 when God has a purpose for your life and you seek Him, He will seek you. I'm telling you, that's beautiful. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. So as we get ready to wind up, this has been such an amazing conversation. And so thank you so much for sharing.
You're
Is there
welcome.
anything that you would like to share with our audience before we wrap up and go into the last final, you know, uh, part of the show?
Yeah, I want to encourage anyone that's watching to don't put an end on your story. Your story isn't over. Turn the page. There's more to read. There's more to become of you. You keep serving the Lord. Keep serving God. Keep going after His plan, His best for you. It doesn't matter what it come with. It doesn't matter how crazy you have to look. It may come with a little pain. But keep serving God and keep going after God and keep trusting God and keep renewing your commitment to Him. And God will show up for you in ways that you never could imagine. And so when I think about this platform, Pam, who wouldn't serve a God like this? I give God all the glory because it's all the Lord. It's nothing that I could have did, nothing I
Yeah.
could have done to get here on my own. It was all divine guidance. And so I encourage you to seek divine guidance in your life and to seek God's best for your life.
Yes.
Don't worry about what everybody else has going on. I've never cared.
I love it. I love it. You sound like me.
Yeah, who
Sure.
cares what everybody else got going on when God
Hmm.
has a plan uniquely set apart for you? So seek His best for your life and care about His plan, and don't push His voice to the side because you'll be surprised the message He wants to try to get to you.
Woo! That's good, girl. That's good. That's good. You are absolutely right. You are absolutely right. And so, yeah, don't get weary in well doing, for in due season you shall reap if you faint not. So, hey,
If you
just
faint not.
if you faint not. So, don't faint in the process. Not
Amen.
gonna feel good all the time. Those traumatic things, because we all go through traumatic things, and they are not necessarily happening to us. It may feel like that it's happening to us in the process, but it's happening for us. It's
Hmm.
happening for our good, right? And so, as we get ready to wrap things up, I have three questions that I typically ask my guests. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So, as you know, the first question is, what are you most grateful for?
I'm most grateful for healthy relationships. In a season of my life, I have learned and grown to value more deep and meaningful and healthy relationships. Healthy relationships that push the best out of me, that
Hmm.
speak life into me, that push the best in me. So I'm grateful for healthy relationships in this season of my life.
That's good. That's good. That's real good, as a matter of fact. Healthy relationships that bring the best out in you. That's key.
That's key.
Ooh, that's
And
key.
there's reciprocity.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
so many times I've been the poor or and still to some degree is, but I have relationships that fuel me and that pour into me and that push me and that challenge me, and that feels great because most of the time you can be the poor, you can be a pitcher.
Yeah.
And you expect everybody to be a pitcher when God had to alert me that everybody he brings into my life won't be a pitcher.
Sure.
But I have to be okay with the pictures that he do send me.
That's good.
If they're just a glass, I can't expect them to pour when they don't got that.
They can only give as much as they have.
Yeah.
Right? And so, second question, what is your definition of peace?
My definition of peace is, well, one of the ones that I embrace the most is shalom. The Hebrew word for peace is shalom.
Yeah.
There's nothing broken, nothing missing, nothing lacking, complete wholeness in your life. So peace for me is wholeness.
Yes.
It's well, it's being well mentally, emotionally, responding well. It is your ability to maintain yourself regardless of what's going on around you. It's an inner thing and it's an outward thing. So it's wholeness and it's wellness. It's a personal thing.
Absolutely.
Peace is personal
Yes.
because you can have chaos going on and still have peace. You can be in the storm and still have peace. You can be in the middle of a pandemic and still have peace.
Yes,
So
Lord.
for me, it's about being whole and about being well.
Absolutely. That's really good. That's really good because you are on point. Wholeness equals peace. Yeah. And the third question, that was the great answer, by the way. The
Thank
third
you.
and last question is, you know that I have the private Facebook group, Broken Pieces to Peace, right? So what are some of the things that you do to maintain your sense of peace? Whether it's daily routines that you do, or some of the things that you would like to share with our audience that will help them to move past or move out of the broken pieces of their past.
Yeah.
Help to move them forward into their life of peace.
Yeah. So I, of course, spend time in the Word. I spend time in worship. I spend time in prayer. I spend a lot of time affirming myself, but more so than anything, if something arises, I have to check it. I have to see if I'm missing information before just responding to it. I've become less reactive and more just responding as opposed to reacting. If you react to everything, it's a sign of immaturity, emotional immaturity. If I'm responding to things and I'm taking the time to really process through it and really check it. And so I do spend time when things arise, not just overreacting to them. I try my best not to take everything personal. Say, Precious, this isn't personal. Like this isn't personal. Like this isn't an attack. And, and realizing that everything that comes up is an opportunity for growth. So whether that's in the Word, working out, reading, I read a lot. I believe it's important to be a reader. But yeah, those are some of my things. Reading the Word, reading books, reading personal growth books, self-help books, whatever books that speak to your soul, speak to your spirit, and feed your mind. And, honestly, just practicing gratitude. And every day I find myself thankful for things. Just practicing gratitude and being thankful. Those things help you stay grounded and have a sense of peace and just practice being positive. Like there's so many things to be negative about in this world, in this life, but just find some things to find me.
Absolutely. Sorry about that. But yes, that is huge because you said learning to respond opposed to react.
Yeah.
Because responding is positive and reacting is negative.
Yeah, it's negative. It's emotional.
It is. It is. And just, taking yourself out of that, out of the situation and looking back and being able to make conscious decisions on how to react or how to respond to the situation.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's good. That's really good. And so, yeah, that was really good. Okay. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And as we get ready to wind up, again, I am so happy and grateful that you took out time out of your day, Precious, to come and share with us. This has been an amazing, rich conversation. And so I want you all to, she has a book. She has 2 books. And so make sure that you get your copy of your book, her book, through Amazon Prime or Barnes and Nobles online, Confronting the Age-Old Question, Why Me?
Yes.
That is huge. That is huge. Make sure you all get that book. And how can they get that book, Precious?
Yep. Amazon and Barnes & Noble is a good place to just go ahead and get it straight to you.
Okay. Fantastic. Fantastic. And let's see, where else? And definitely connect with Precious on Instagram, Precious Simone Inspires, or you can connect with her on Facebook at Precious Simone Inspires LLC. And you can also email her at speak@precioussimone. And so, again, is there anything else that you want to share? You have another book as well, right?
I don't have another book yet, but my next book will definitely be with me and my husband. We're going to co-author a book together. Yes. So
fantastic.
That will be, we will combine our stories, our journeys, things that the Father has given us together, and encourage people through our writing, through workshops, through ministry, through encouragement, through lives. So we are definitely on a mission to win hearts and help people mend.
Fantastic. Fantastic. That's going to be good. That's going to be good.
You.
Is it just going to be for couples or singles or what?
It's a universal message. Ultimately, it'll definitely be a universal message, but it's ultimately for anyone that's gone through any type of broken relationship or something.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. So thank you again. And yes, make sure that you connect with Precious on Facebook or on Instagram. I'll post the links in the banner, in the promotional banner on Facebook. And so where you can reach out to her and make that connection. All right. And make sure you all join us for the Bible reading in the morning, for the 365-day Bible reading, where we read the word every morning, go through the entire Bible in 365 days. And at 6 a.m. Central Standard Time, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and 4 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then make sure you join us back here next week for another episode of Who Wouldn't Serve a God Like This, where I will have another phenomenal guest speaker that you definitely don't want to miss. All right. So with that being said, thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you so much, Precious.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Take care. Bye for now.
Take care.